Sri Rupa will be singing bhajans now.
Not on the desktop. Oh, on the desktop. I don't even know where they are. Sure. Where are they? Do you have that box?
Sure, I can explain.
Rupa just had it sitting right here when she was singing.
Has she had that since she was a child? You know her since...
No, I haven't seen that. This is for Madanga. Can the Madanga go right here? Okay.
Can you move them up? Yeah, sure. Is it possible to get light here?
Put a light right here?
Or so that we don't, I mean, if at all. I don't know how to. I'll just get you. Oh, yeah, okay.
Sounds good.
Right?
It's supposed to be till 4:30. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. So we're going to sing a group of bhajans from Saranagati. In Saranagati, these 3 bhajans we're going to sing are specifically from the Gop Tritve Varna section. So we've been hearing really amazing classes for the past couple of days, and you'll see the connections. There's actually no need for too much explanation. You'll see there are very clear connections between what all the devotees, the speakers, have been saying. So what we're going to do, Sri Radhika Mata and myself, before each bhajan, we're just going to go through each verse and explain it a little bit, or go through the translation, so that we can understand the meaning and the emotions behind this bhajan while we're singing it, and so we can go deeper into them that way. All right, so Sri Radhika Mata will go through the first bhajan. This is the first song of the Gop Tritve Varna section.
So the title of the song is Ki Jani Ki Bale. And we see the mood of Bhaktivinoda Thakur through the song. The translation reads, I do not know how I had the strength to come to your abode and take shelter at your lotus feet. You are full of compassion for the fallen, conditioned souls, and it is for this reason that you are always engaged in delivering them. O Lord, you are my only hope because you are full of compassion. You will not find anyone else who is more eligible for your mercy. Therefore, I am confident that you will remove my fear of material existence. No one within this world has the power to deliver me. O merciful Lord, you have declared that you are the only savior of the fallen and sinful people of this world. O Lord of the universe, I have given up everything and have come to your lotus feet. I am your eternal servant, and you are my sole maintainer. In truth, everything belongs to you, and I'm only a caretaker. It is your duty to deliver me. I will give up my independence and take shelter at your lotus feet. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur humbly takes shelter at your lotus feet. Please forgive his offenses and allow him to develop a taste for chanting your holy name. In this way, kindly maintain him.
जाने की बाले तुम्हारा धामेते होइनु शरणागता तुम्हारा धामेते स्वागता जानी की वाले पावना तुम्ही दया मोया पतिता पावना तुम्ही दया मोया पतिता पावना पतिता तारनेराता पतिता तारनेराता पतिता तारनेराता पतिता तारनेराता भरसाया अवश्य गुचावे बोल अवश्य गुचावे बोल अवश्य गुचावे बोल अमर तारीते कहारो जगाते आवानी भीतरे अमर तारीते कहारो जगाते आवानी भीतरे अमर तारीते कहारो शकाती आवानी अधम पामरे त्राही अधम पामरे त्राही अधम पामरे त्राही सकल चारिया जगन्नाथ तुम्ही गोप्ता जगन्नाथ तुम्ही गोप्ता जगन्नाथ तुम्ही गोप्ता जगन्नाथ तुम्हार सका आम्ही मात्र दास আমার তারিবে তুমি আমার সাকায়া আমি মাতা আমার তারিবে তোমার সাকা আমি মাত্র দাস koro ye tai, palana koro ye tai, palana koro ye tai, palana koro ye tai. Idani ki bale तुम्हारा धाम से होइनु शरणागता रानी की बाले तुम्हारा धाम से होइनु शरणागता जाने की बाले तुम्हारा धाम से होइनु शरणागता जाने की बाले तुम्हारा धाम से Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai.
So that was song number 1 of this section. And we're going to sing song number 3, Sarvasva Tomar. Can you pull it up? Just if you pull up the PowerPoint. So actually these songs in this section, so Gop Tritve Varna we learned is seeing the Lord as one's maintainer. So the songs in this section are ideal for householders because householders are always concerned, worrying about how they're going to maintain, how they're going to earn money. But actually it's Krishna who's maintaining, and it's not our boss who's maintaining us, or our company. I think Nityananda Pran Prabhu in his class gave an example of this. Or I think it was Nityananda Pran Prabhu, he was speaking how, the company is ultimately built on the earth, and where does the earth, what's the source? Ultimately, it's Krishna. And it's not our hard work that's maintaining us, it's not our big brains that we have. So ultimately it's Krishna that's maintaining us. And if we can think in this way, then we will actually be happy and without anxiety. So in this bhajan, Sarvasva Tomar, we'll walk through. So if you can change the slide as I'm explaining. So people are starting on the first one. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Sarvasva Tomar Charne Sampiya. So everything I possess, I offer it at your lotus feet. Porechi Tomar Ghare, and I fall down in front of your house. He uses an amazing analogy on this bhajan actually. We'll see it as it manifests. So he's saying, taking all that I possess, I surrender at your lotus feet, and I throw myself before your house. Then he says, Tumi to Thakur, Tomar Kukur. So you are the master of the house, and I am your dog. Bolia Jana Homore, please consider me like this. Please consider me to be your pet. So this isn't like some kind of depression, like he's throwing himself in front of his house. But it's actually Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the realization is that we think we're independent and we can do everything. But actually we're so tiny and insignificant. That's why we're always in anxiety, because we're not actually independent and we cannot do anything without Krishna's mercy. So in this way, he's saying, I'm just going to be like a dog outside your house, and you just take care of me, you maintain me. And then he continues to say, Pandya Nikate Amare Paribe. Shri Kishore Kishore Jagannath Badev Subhadramaya Purnita Ki. So he says, Bandiya nikate. Just chain me to the door, and Amare Palibe, you will maintain me, and I'll just lie at your doorstep. Rohibo tamar dware. And then he says, Pratipa janare asite nadibo, rakhibo gadere pare. Again, continuing with this analogy, I'm sure you've seen this. People who have dogs, what happens is that when the dog becomes surrendered to the master, they actually become defensive, like they protect the master. So what he's saying here is, if your enemies ever try to enter your home, I'll keep them. There's this word, gadere pare, like a moat. There's a moat surrounding the house. So he's saying, I'll just keep them out. I'll protect you. So that's the analogy continuing here. Then he says, Tava Nija Jan Prasad Sevya. So Nija Jan means your people. So he's referring to your devotees. Tava Nija Jan, your devotees. They honor your prasad. Prasad Sevya. And then he says, Uchishta Rakhibe Jaha. So their remnants will be his food, his sustenance. And he says, Amar Bhojan Paramanande, like this will be a great feast for him. And he's going to honor it, and very blissfully and ecstatically he honors the remnants of the devotees of the Lord, like the servant of the servant. And then he says, Pratidin Habita, that's every day I will feast like this. Isn't this like the perfect picture? Someone help me find it. Okay, you can go next. And then he says, Boshia Shriya Tamar Charana Chintibo Satata Ami. So, like dogs, they just kind of lie around, you know, they're waiting and sitting around. And, but this, what he's saying particularly here is whatever he's doing, whether he's lying or sleeping or sitting up or lying down, he's always remembering the Lord's lotus feet. And then he continues to say, Nachite, nachite, nikate jaibo. So the dog actually, it's like the dog becomes a part of the family, but it's not like he has a separate life. Like maybe when we have children, they have their own life and they're engaged in their own different activities and whatnot. But the dog is actually just lying there waiting for the master to call him. And so he says, as soon as he hears that call, he will get up and run, dancing towards the master, just ready to serve him. Next. And then he finally says, Nijera Poshan Kabuna Bhavibo. So this one's very instructive of this concept of maintaining. He says that actually I'll never think about my own maintenance and my own nourishment. I'll remain absorbed in ever-cherishing love for my master. He will constantly remember the Lord. And one of the points that came up in one of the classes, I can't remember, but it's like we're so engaged. I think Romapada Maharaj mentioned this, the 6 enemies. We're so engaged with the 6 enemies, just overwhelmed with dealing with them that we forget to remember Krishna. So he's saying here that I'm just not going to think about my maintenance, but I'm always going to remain absorbed in love for my master. And then he says, Bhakti Vinod Tamara Palaka, Boliya Varana Kore. So he finally accepts, Bhakti Vinod accepts you as his only maintainer. So the acharyas, they always take, I think Dravida Prabhu also mentioned this in one of his classes, they take the role of the conditioned souls so that they can instruct us through these realizations. So when we go through these bhajans, we can meditate on these meanings and the emotions. And we can realize that these are the emotions and the realizations of somebody who sees the Lord as his only maintainer. So we actually have access to this. we may not be there yet, but we can understand and realize, we can understand what a person who sees the Lord as his only maintainer thinks and feels. So we will go through this. Sri Rupa will lead us in singing.
सर्वस्वा तोमार चरणे संपिया पड़ेछि तोमार घरे 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 तुमी तो ठाकुर तोमारा कुकुर बोलिया जाना हो मोरे तुमी तो ठाकुर तोमार कुकुर बोलिया जाना हो मोरे तुमी तो ठाकुर तोमारा कुकुर बोलिया जाना हो मोरे तुमी तो ठाकुर तोमारा कुकुर बोलिया जाना हो मोरे बंधिया निकाते हमारे पालिबे रोहिब तोमार धरे बंधिया निकाते रोहिब तोमार द्वारे बंधिया निकाते हमार पालिबे रोहिब तोमार द्वारे प्रतिपाजने रे आसिते ना दीब राखिब गादेरा पारे प्रतिपाजने आसिते ना दीब गादेरा पारे प्रतिपाजने रे आसिते ना दीब राखिब गादेरा पारे प्रतिपाजने रे आसिते ना दीब राखिब गादेरा पारे तावाने जन प्रसाद सेविया उच्छिष्ट राखिबे जाहा 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 हमारा भोजन परमानन्दे प्रसीदिनः भेदः अमर भोजन परमानन्दे प्रसीदिनः भेदः अमर भोजन परमानन्दे प्रतिदिन भेदः अमर भोजन परमानन्दे बसिया शुइया तुम्हारा चरण चिंतिव सतत आमी बसिया शुइया तुम्हारा चरण चिंतिव सतत आमी बसिया शुइया तुम्हारा चरण चिंतिव सतत आमी बसिया शुइया तुम्हारा चरण नाचिते नाचिते निकटे जाइब যখন ডাকিবে তুমি নাচিতে নাচিতে নিকটে যাইব যখন ডাকিবে তুমি নাচিতে নাচিতে নিকটে যাইব যখন ডাকিবে তুমি नाचिते नाचिते निकटे जाइब डाकिबे तुमी निजेरा पोषण कभु ना भाविब रहिब भावेरा भोरे निजेरा पोषण कभु ना भाविब निजेरा पोषण कभु ना भाविब रहिब भावेरा भोरे तुम्हारे पालक बोलिया वरण कोरे तुम्हारे पालक बोलिया वरण कोरे भक्ति बिनो तुम्हारा पालक बोलिया वरण कोरे भक्ति बिनो तुम्हारा बोलिया वरण कोरे सर्वस्व तुम्हार शरणे संपिया पड़ेछि तुम्हार घरे तुम्हारा कुकुर बोलिया जाना हो मोरे तुम्हें तुम्हारा कुकुर बोलिया वरण ठाकुर की जय।
So the last bhajan that we'll sing is Tumi Sarva Ishvara Ishvara. So we'll again just go through it. Okay, I'll just go through it. Are you gonna? I'll just speak it. So he says, Tumi Sarveshwara Ishvara Brajendra Kumar. So Sarva Ishvara Ishvara. So controller of all controllers. So who is this? Brajendra Kumar, the son, the little cowherd boy. And so he says he's just a little cowherd boy, but Tumar Ichaya Vishwe Shijana Samhara. By your will, just by his will, he doesn't actually have to do anything, just will. By his will, this entire universe is created. So this small Brajendra Kumar, little boy, who's the controller of all controllers, by his will, the universe is created. And he continues to say, Tava Ichha Mato Brahma Korena Shijana. By your desire, Brahma creates, and Tava Ichha Mato Vishnu Korena Palana. Vishnu maintains everything. Okay. Yeah, thanks. We can go to the next one now. So, continue. Tava Ichha Mate Shiva Korena Samhara, meaning that Lord Shiva annihilates everything. And Tava Ichhamate, by his will, Maya Shijik Karagara. So Maya creates this illusory material energy, which can be compared to a prison, Karagar. And then he continues on. So he says, Tava Ichhamate Jiver Janma Marana. By his will, the living entities are born, and then the living entities die. And Samriddhi Nipate Dukkha Sukha Sanghatana. All of the happiness, the distress, wealth, poverty, this is all created by his will. And then he says, Miche Maya Bad Jiva. Asha Pashe Fire. So Maya Bad Jiva, the soul is bound by Maya. And Jiva, he says, Asha Pashe Fire. So he's talking about desires, Asha Pasha, many desires. We're bound up by many desires. And they're actually like shackles, like ropes binding us up. But we think that if we can satisfy these desires, then we'll be happy. But it's actually that they're binding us up more and more. And he says, Tava ichha bina kichu korite na pare. So without your sanction, Tava ichha bina, without your sanction, kichu korite na pare, we cannot do anything. So this is like, for example, did anybody worry about the sun rising today? Because when everyone went to bed last night, were they in anxiety that, hey, will the sun rise today? But it's actually like this amazingly huge object going at millions of miles an hour, and it's all perfectly working. But the problem is that the person who makes all this happen, we don't think he'll maintain us, even though we're this like, you know, this is the sun, and we're just like, what are we? But our dilemma is that we don't think that this personality who's maintaining everything is going to maintain us. And then the next one. So he says, Tumito Rakhaka Ar Palaka Amar. So you are my only protector and maintainer. And Tumar Charna Bina, without your lotus feet, Asha Nahi Ar, there's no hope. So he's understanding that we've been trying for so long, vainly, to be independent and to do everything ourselves without the shelter of the Lord. And I mean, everyone is very familiar here, actually. We can see this practically. We try so hard, a lot of people, we endeavor so hard to achieve things, to create things, to obtain things, name, fame, money, what have you. But ultimately, when the time's done, we're left with nothing, right? Like, what can we actually keep? So he surrenders. He says, "You are my only protector and my only maintainer." And so this is an important verse because he says, "Nija bal cheshta prati bharasa chadiya." So with intelligence, he's given up depending on his own strength. Like, this is intelligence. He's just surrendered. This is surrender. And then he says, "Tumari ichhaya achi nirbhar koriya." I'm simply dependent on you, on your will. So in this bhajan, we see the power, the magnitude of the Lord's power, and how he's maintaining everything. And actually, we're just like this little. Oh, sorry. There's one more verse. Okay, sorry. This Bhakti Vinod Ati Dina Akinchana. So he's feeling very akinchana. This word has come up many times in the classes. So very without any shelter. It's been translated as without any shelter, or it can mean very poor. Or another word that Padari Prabhu uses is prideless. So he feels himself completely like without shelter, prideless. And he says, "Tumar ichhaya tar jivana maran." I'm surrendered. By your will, I will live or die. So this material world, if we're not completely an illusion, this material world will actually make us humble. Because there's literally nothing we can hang on to in the material world. It's like, what can you do? It's by Krishna's will that we will live, and by his will we will die. So it's actually very humiliating. And ultimately, you know, it's all up to Krishna anyway, so why not just accept? And I just want to share a little realization that Niranjan Maharaj, His Holiness Niranjan Swami, shares about this bhajan. He was explaining that, you know, in this song we see that Krishna, he has so much responsibility for maintaining everything. By his will, you know, Lord Brahma creates, Vishnu maintains, Lord Shiva annihilates everything, and Maya creates this illusory prison house. So everything is happening. So if we see in today's day and age, when you approach a person who's very busy, who has many responsibilities, it's like, it's most certain that one little detail will be overlooked, right? Something always gets overlooked, like a small, minute little detail always gets overlooked. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur in this bhajan is taking the position of like a minute detail. So in the grand scene of things, you know, there's like one little tiny insignificant, so why would that matter? But it matters because of surrender. Because that tiny insignificant jiva surrenders, that's why Krishna, even though he has all these other things going on, that little jiva becomes very important. So this shows the greatness of the devotee, and it also shows the kindness and mercy of Krishna, that he will accept like this. So this is surrender, and this is the kindness of the Lord. So we'll go through this and meditate on the meaning.
Tumi Sarveshwareshwara Bhaje janna samhara. Tumhara ichaya vishwe janna samhara. Tava icha mato brahma kure nash jana. Tava icha mato brahma kure nash jana. Tava icha mato Vishnu kore na palana. Tava icha mato Vishnu kore na palana. Tava icha mate Shiva kore na chamate maya shije karagara. Tavai chamate maya shije karagara. Tavai chamate jive janama marana. Tavai chamate jive janama marana. Samriddhi nipate dukha sukha samghatana. Samriddhi nipate dukha sukha samghatana. Miche maya bada jiva asha pashe phire. Miche maya bada jiva asha pashe phire. Tava icha bina kichu korite na pare. Tava icha bina kichu korite na pare. Tumi to rakha kara palaka mara. Tumi to rakha charana bina asha nahi ara. Tumhara charana bina asha nahi ara. Nija bala chishta prati bharasa chariya. Bala Krishna prati bharasa chariya. Tumhara ichaya chi nirbhara koriya. Tumhara ichaya chi samha